Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are looking at the Slayer Aerospace Fighter here on Sarna.net to start off with, like how we normally do. All right, so getting into what we have here today, the Slayer is a Draconis Combine heavy aerospace fighter designed before the fall of the Star League, and is noted for its endurance and armor. A multi-role fighter, the Slayer has the firepower to take on both other fighters and mechs, with many pilots mistaking the compact design for a lighter craft, a mistake that they rarely live to repeat. The Slayer also boasts a double capacity fuel tank, allowing it to loiter over the battlefield for extended periods of time. Okay, I'm gonna murder this one because Wakashi Enterprises started experimenting with rotating rear turret design for the Slayer back in 2775, but it had to abandon it in 2780 as the turret rotation assembly had a poor field of fire and froze in deep space. The fighter retains the vestige of the turret experiment as the rear weapons are mounted in the raised circular plate where the turret once sat. Weapons and equipment. While not the heaviest in armament, Slayers tend to carry enough weaponry to give any other fighter or mech a bad day. With the Zeus 56 Mark IV AC and a diverse optics Type 20 medium laser in the nose, backed up by four more medium lasers in the wings, the Slayer can lay down enough firepower in one pass to destroy small craft. A single medium laser faces the rear to discourage anyone from pursuing it. All right, all the variants that we have here today, which is not as many as it could possibly be. Uh, but here we are. We have the 15A, the first in the series of unpopular, uninspired modification kits developed by Wakashi during the Third Succession War. The 15A trades the AC-10 for an LRM-15 and SRM-6 in the nose, supplied with 2 tons of reloads each. We have the 15B, a different take on the 15A. This modification leaves the LRM-15 launcher in the nose, but mounts the SRM-6 launcher aft. Then we have the 15C. Uh, the 15C merely reverses the 15B's weapon positioning, with the SRM-6 mounted in the nose and the LRM-15 in the rear, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I guess. All right. We have the 15R, unwilling to mess with the popular design of the A, B, and or C variant debacle. This variant, introduced in 3044, simply replaces the older AC-10 with a more advanced Imperator code red LB10XAC with an extra ton of ammunition. A minor change that allowed it to quickly applied to the production line and as a simple field refit for existing fighters. Then we have the 15K, a minor modern update of the 15R developed in 3066. The 15K merely switches the standard single heat sinks for double strength models and upgrades the lasers to ER mediums. The DCMS plans to upgrade all existing SL15s to SL15Rs, with this standard upgrade to be distributed during the jihad. All right, I'm not going to get into the experimental variants and all that. Notable pilots, we do have different Slayer pilots. Even more so, if you actually look in the 20 or 3025 field manual, they have all that extra fluff in there, which is always wonderful having. All right, so we do have some 3 pictures here. The original one done for 3025, drawn up by David Deltrick, a nice looking fighter, very popular of the 80s. This design had gone around for a couple different things, even with that turret in the back. I think if we had done something like this for GI Joe, um, of course, now we have something here shown for Battletech, and I think we've seen the same design or very similar design to this in other notable franchises. All right, and then we have an updated picture of this, and this one was drawn by Mike Nielsen and Jim Nielsen. So after the original by David Deltrick. And last but not least, we have this one here. Looks like somebody was not having a good day as the Slayer is flying away here out in the starry space. And this is by Bill Perry. Okay, with that being said, let's get into our D6 stats and see what we have here today. All right, so taking our D6 stats here, this is good. Everything's going to be listed here as Starfighter scale. So when we look at our damages and everything else, you'll notice a little difference because all the weapons are all done up in Walker scale originally. So when I put it at Starfighter scale, you'll notice the damage goes down a little bit. Okay, want to keep that fresh in your mind as we look at everything here. We have a crew of 1, passengers of none. Cargo capacity is going to be 45 kilograms, and we have full coverage. Our cost for this beautiful machine is at 4,454,053 C-bills. Kind of cheap when you look at today's modern fighters, but this isn't, we're looking at our stuff in US dollars, not our C-bills. All right, maneuverability. This is an 80-ton fighter, so that brought us down to a 2D for our maneuverability, and its overthrust speed, which is what I'm taking for the speed, is at a 9, which then brings it up to a 3D. So again, I'm working off of that chart for the good or the bad of it. So sometimes it might seem like it's a little off from where maybe you might think it should be. And as always, as I present all this stuff, if it needs to be changed for you to make it work in your world, do so. Okay? All right, space with the overthrust being 9, so that's our space speed. So it correlates, giving us the same atmospheric speed as what we had seen last time we had a fighter. So we have a top speed of 1,150 kilometers an hour. Body strength is a 6D. Again, because it's an 80-ton machine, that gives us that 6D rating. And it has an armor points. I counted it up. Now, not saying my math is perfect, but roughly about 282 armor points. Now, when you look at the stats here, we do have a lot of weapons listed. There are 6 different medium lasers here. We have 5 that are facing the front. We have 4 in the wings and 1 in the nose. So you get our 5 medium lasers that are fire linked here. Starfighter scale, fire control is 2D, and damage is 7D. Now, likewise, we have 1 facing the rear. Starfighter scale, fire control is 2D, and damage is 3D. And last but not least, we do have a forward-facing AC-10. Actually, I kind of goofed up on this one because doing a simple copy and paste, I wasn't thinking of the scale. So that's on me, which then means I have to change the damage and everything. Okay. With all that being changed, we are at Starfighter scale. Fire control is 2D, and our damage is 5D plus 2. Again, like I said, this is at Starfighter scale. So, when we start attacking the mechs and everything else, it'll start going back up, but then we lose our fire control. All right. We do have 20 rounds of ammo for our AC-10, so we're not sitting there with a huge abundance of ammo there, but we do have 20 rounds to try and take out something. But a nice fighter, nice looking fighter. Like I said, this is a popular Delta wing design that had gone around for the 80s. And I know that it's been done in many different franchises, something very similar to this, as everyone's kind of copying everyone and looking at where trends were kind of going. So the beautiful thing with Battletech is with all the different manufacturers that are out there, they could go off in so many different ways. Some of them being something that's more modern to the times, some of them being a little eccentric, some of them trying to take other ideas from, most notably, like World War II. And if we look at a lot of the names, we do have a lot of shared names from craft during World War II. Seeing that that is one of the big wars that has really defined how our world has really kind of run since then. So, with that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. Hope you enjoy the content. It's always wonderful having you here. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.